Radio. Homegrown Radio. Real 92.
All right, we back at it, Homegrown Radio. Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head.
West Coast.
Man, we got a homegrown homie like none other in the building.
Day one.
Right now. Day one.
Yes,
he's
sir.
super good. Things are going really, really great for him right now. The winner of Rhythm and Flows.
Yes,
the
sir.
Netflix Rhythm and Flow. DSMOKE is in that building with us right now, man.
Hey, what's going on?
Welcome,
It's good
man.
to be
Looking at
here.
a winner.
Congratulations.
It's good to be here,
First
you
and
know.
foremost.
I mean, you was a
man.
winner before this.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now,
Yes, sir.
you know, one, let me hold something, bro. What's up, man?
Oh, I got you, man. Just let me know
get
what you
that out
need.
the way. Nah, but congratulations first and foremost. When I seen your name on the opening credits, I'm like, oh shit! Like the homie's gonna be on this, and it's obviously we know here that you beyond talented doing your thing. So to kind of see the journey and you go through this whole thing has just been nothing but surreal and amazing. So congratulations again, big dog.
Thank you.
Did
And I
you know
second
you was
that.
gonna win when you went to that first audition?
To keep it 100, no.
You didn't feel
I
like you had it in the bag?
I felt like I could, but you know, I'm also old enough to know that it's a production first.
Right.
You know, so with that being said, I
It's
know that
TV.
it's TV. There's a lot of things going on that are outside of my control. A lot of subjective opinions. People who have I didn't know what other people's agenda was. So the production team kind of reassured me that look, there's no boogeyman. What you give us is what we're gonna use, and I found that to be true as I went through the process. So, but no, I didn't know.
How did you find out about it?
Actually, I was promoting a online series of 1-minute videos that I was just using to get the buzz up on social networking, and it's called Run the Subtitles.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Hell
and
yeah,
it was getting
yeah.
love. It was getting a lot of reposts from some famous artists and big stars and whatnot. So they were like, people were just like, who is this nigga out of Inglewood with these Spanish and English bars
Right.
switching like, and a lot of it was similar to some of what I did on Rhythm and Flow. It was talking about my experience. It was just honest raps going back and forth between the language. So somebody caught wind of that. I think DJ Battlecat.
Word.
Shout out to
Battlecat.
Battlecat,
Man, yeah.
the great West Coast legend.
Yeah.
DJ Battlecat. I did one to his beat, one of my favorite beats of all time, We Can Freak It by Corrupt.
Yeah.
He caught wind of it. He posted it like, hey man, I don't know what's happening, but the youngster is ready, So DJ Moon Baby caught wind of that. And then she shared that with a friend who was over a lot of the recruitment for the talent, So I didn't go the traditional route. I didn't say, hey, I hear there's auditions. Here's my submission. Here's my tape. You know what I'm saying? And for that reason, because, I had my own feelings about submitting myself to be judged. I felt like, y'all know how long we've been doing it. There's a certain degree of artistry you get to where it's like, I'm not going to subject myself to somebody else's opinion about what's happening. But when you're like me and you're in a position where they recruit you, then you feel like, okay, there's a larger chance that, one, I have somebody advocating for it, not necessarily for me, but for fairness, right? If it's fair, I got a good shot against anybody, right? Advocating for fairness and also just making sure that it's a sound process, So, yeah, that's how
You
I feel
kind of
about
walk
it.
in with leverage at that point because it's just like an artist out there that's trying to get a deal. If you have the labels beating down your doors
Yeah.
versus trying to go and get it signed, you walk in with a lot more leverage. And that was one of the things I was thinking too. Like, with somebody as well rounded as yourself when it comes to being a musician, not a true artist. A lot of times that is a disadvantage because again they're looking for the production value. They're looking for the smoke and mirrors, but no pun intended. But
Right.
but you coming in with that and they're looking at like, okay, no, fuck that. We really are trying to like put on something organic and real. Like I think that's something that I feel like was displayed in the show.
Right.
And now that the show's over, do you feel like all the edits being done and all of that's being said and done? Do you feel like, okay, yeah, they properly represented myself and everything that I actually put forth?
Right. I'm super proud, first and foremost, of how I was represented. Jay said in the rap a long time ago, before all this, I was a real star, complete with real cars. You could come and set up the camera, let the video run, and that's how I feel about my life. Like, before rap, before Netflix, Rhythm and Flow, before people catching wind of what I was doing, I was real in those communities that I was in. So the fact that what the way they represented me didn't conflict with how many people already had respect for me and what I stood for. The fact that it aligned, like people are hitting me up like, man, the same dude that I know you to be in the
Yeah.
classroom, you
Yeah.
that same nigga,
Mhm.
On that platform. And that's what I'm most proud of. Like,
Mhm.
on the creative side, it's a lot of, there's a lot of, production things that we did have to contend with, right? So, it was dope. But in the later rounds, you see more of our artistry. In the early rounds, it's like, okay, let's make some smart moves. I told somebody it's not solely a rap competition. Rap is an element, right? But it's an artistry competition. It's a decision making competition. Like when you put on a spot, what do you do? How do you respond?
Got you.
So, and I'm a test taker, so I'm like, okay, this is how we gonna do it. So a lot of the early stuff is very catered to what the challenge was, and I took time to understand like what is the challenge. Let's approach it a certain way.
How did you feel like? Okay, so obviously people know Cardi's personality,
Mm-hmm.
but we very rarely get to see somebody like Chance,
Right.
in that type of element.
Mhm.
Like we always see Ti, he's always on the internet critiquing people. Cardi is Cardi,
Right.
right?
Right.
But then like Chance, do you feel like you got to see a different side of him too? Like as far as like being in that position where he's not only critiquing you,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, but also kind of taking him like a role of admiration. Because I
Mhm.
saw the way like he would watch your shit and he'd be like, bro,
Yo,
this shit is
raw.
Mhm.
this shit is dope.
Yeah.
And I saw like a real respect for your craft
Yeah.
towards the end of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Chance was a very interesting rapper. Rapper judge.
Mhm.
He he's super insightful, which to some people it might come as a surprise. People who are like, okay, he kind of has a playful, somewhat like inspirational pop rap style, right? But I tell a lot of people when you get to that degree of success, it's no accidents. It's no accident that Cardi is Cardi.
Absolutely.
It's very intentional. Even if to you it just comes off comedy, playful, it's no accident. And the same thing applies for Chance. So Chance said a lot of things that didn't actually make the show. They got thousands of hours of footage.
Yeah.
And it was some
was some
bars. It was
bars.
bars that he said that didn't make it. One of which that stuck with me. He told the artist, because some people equate rapping fast to rapping dope. And they did say that, when Tip said, Snoop Dogg said 1, 2, 3 into the, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But Chance said something similar in the sense that he said, if I didn't hear you deliver your rap and you wrote it out and I looked at it on a piece of paper, I should still get the same point across and I should be just as impressed with what your word choice is as I am with your delivery and the whole package. So I think that worked to my advantage. Some people said, DSMOKE, he didn't do all the jumping or the theatrics. I was laid back. I paced a little bit, a couple hand gestures, but on the West Coast, we don't follow conventions. Like we beat to our own rhythm. You feel me? So, and when I went out there, I was not going to come up there and try to be something louder or something. You know what I'm saying? But I know what I say. You feel me? I know what I'm talking about because it's about me half the time. And then the other time it's about my city or lived experiences. So that stood out. And that's what I think Chance was speaking to when he was like, bro, you stand out. Like, and he said that to Jacob even.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to learn about you.
Yep.
And then Jacob responded.
Yes, he
or
did.
no, Sam.
Sam,
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Sam
I
responded.
knew who you was talking about. Yeah.
Yep. Sam responded, and in a dope way, talked
Yeah.
about his experience in the battle.
Yeah.
So I think it's what I love about it is so much hip hop comes out without the critique or the tutelage of these very successful, very seasoned voices. So you got millions of artists across the country that are watching this, and this is gonna start to shape. It'll shape culture, bro.
Absolutely.
It'll start to turn the tide into like, okay, I'm gonna think a little bit because it's not a compromise. I think what people forget is like, or people think the misconception is that you got to compromise what you're trying to say for being entertaining. It's not a compromise. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
You got to take a little bit more time. You can't just get in there and say whatever, but it's no trade-off. You can still say truthful shit, honest shit, and be entertaining as fuck. And we got people doing it. So
Do you feel like the show? Because I know a lot of people were saying I saw like I'm doing the after shows. I know you did the after show too, but I was like, I'm heavily invested in the show. I found like
Mhm.
in the promotion and being engaged on Twitter, and because of the way Netflix dropped it, you got to really engage all the way.
Yes.
So I'm reading certain things online, and I saw one thing that stood out to me. Well, actually, two things that stood out to me, which was top 3 fan favorite contestants who to win the show would be you, London B, and Flawless. Real talk.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that stood out to me was people did not like the different facets of the culture. So they didn't like the fact that there was the auditions were okay,
Mm-hmm.
but then they didn't like the fact that you had battles. Well, what if I'm not a battle rapper?
Right.
Then they had ciphers. Well, what if I'm not a cipher artist?
Right.
Then the samples. Well, what if I'm not a sample? Like, what if I'm not well versed in that space?
Mhm.
So I saw that critique being thrown around. Did you get any of that stuff too, or do you care?
Well, I'm trying not to pay as much attention to the critiques,
Yeah.
but I had some of those sentiments myself, to keep it 100, right?
Got you.
Going into the competition, I was like, I'm not a battle rapper. You know what I'm saying? That's not my shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a teacher, so half the time I'm a peacemaker.
Yeah.
You know, I'm diplomatic
Yeah,
and shit.
you walking
Like-
around with a bucket of water, not a flamethrower.
Exactly, bro. And my thing is, from Inglewood, it's like if you got hands, you got to pass, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're not, I have to tell my students sometimes, like, you don't have to gangbang to not be no bitch. Like, and so for me, that's where I came from. Like, I'm not a shit talker. I'm not gonna say shit in your face that'll get me fired on. You know what I'm saying? So, and the flip side of that, and why I chose to put it in my battle, is because people say aggressive ass shit in people's face that you wouldn't say in real life. So with everything that, you know, old man Saxon said to me, and shout out to my nigga, because he's an incredible artist, I knew going into the battle that it's like you're standing across from a nigga that will beat your ass.
I will really beat your
I will,
ass.
honestly. And so it's not, it's like, it's taking it back to like critiquing what is a battle rap.
Right.
Yeah.
What is a battle rap?
It's kind of
It's you
aggressive.
saying shit that you wouldn't say to a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? So that was part of my strategy. You know, it was an incredible moment. And like he said, man, they super cut the edit down. It was, you know, it was 20 minutes
yeah.
of waiting. They called the lawyers out.
They had to call
They
the
called
lawyers.
the lawyers out because they said, look, can we cut multiple people, even winners from previous rounds of the battle, so that we can keep both of them through.
Wow.
The judges,
Yeah.
they thought it would be fair to everybody to send both of us through.
Damn.
And that was where they really were at. And the lawyers was like, based on how these rules are written, you can't do that.
Yeah. No, I remember because we were just, it was like damn near you know, like how when you be on set, it was like, all right, like the crew go to lunch.
Mhm.
It was like one of them situations. Like, okay, we were just sitting around waiting, and you just, I mean, you know, you ultimate poise and all this kind of shit. And then old man Sax is standing there, and I remember just looking at y'all, and it was like, what the fuck is going on?
What is
Like,
happening right now?
and then they had the production team to bring in the lawyers, and then they were going over this shit, and you never lost your composure though.
Mhm.
Like, it was like, were you okay in that moment? This is what I want to ask you. In that moment, were you okay with whatever they decided?
Whatever.
So
And
you,
both of us were. We were okay. Look, I'm gonna keep it 100. My goal going in was to represent myself and my city well. I think I even said that.
Yeah.
In my
The
everybody
opening one.
came out like, "What's up? I'm in this motherfucker. Put your hands up." And it's before they started rapping.
Right.
I went up, said, "What's up? My name DSMOKE. I'm from Inglewood, and I'm here to put on for my city. Run the beat, head."
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the whole. That's as
that's the
concise as it
intro.
was. That's the whole thing. And so I was focused on that. If you notice the drama that was going on in
Yeah.
front of the camera, I dipped.
Right. Wasn't
I
around.
found a quiet spot. You know, I'm behind the camera with the producers and shit. Like, damn, look at that. You know what I'm saying? I'm out the way because my intention was to go in there and represent. You know, I know when cameras come on, the youngsters gonna turn up a little bit because, you know, they equate camera time to publicity and publicity to opportunities, but they don't know that some publicity is gonna close doors for your ass because people gonna want to dissociate with you and what you represent. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so at any point in the whole competition, I was ready to go home.
Really?
Yep, because I knew what I did. I was ready to go home.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
I knew what
okay.
I had accomplished my goal every round.
And the other part about the battle where you was like, when you was writing your I don't want to say diss record, but when you were when you was writing your battle
Yeah.
to Old Man Saxon,
Mm-hmm.
and you had that bar like, I'll really beat your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was going through your mind, like when you wrote that?
Right.
Like, were you like I'll fire on this nigga, or were you on some shit like this gonna be good?
It was. I wanted the world to know that that's how I really feel about battle type situations. There's not this much talking to be done where I come from. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, like,
Right.
I read your autobiography. Like, ain't that about a bitch? Woo! That nigga hit me with a line,
Ain't
nigga.
that
Right,
about
right,
a
the
bitch?
The
Yeah.
autobiography is completely about a bitch ass nigga.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, damn, nigga, that was a bar, bro. That was a bar. You know,
had to give it
and,
that.
Hey, I have to hats off
Yeah,
to that
yeah,
nigga.
yeah.
So I mean, it's a collection of shit you wouldn't say to a nigga who knows that you're tangible.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I wanted to bring it back to that. Like, yeah, battle rapping and all this stuff, but this is
At
who
the end of the
this is who
day-
you battling, and then you force everybody in the room to contend with the fact that like he said that to a nigga face.
Yeah.
Like,
Even Saxon was
you
like,
know?
"Yo, that's the one thing I really believed out of the
Yeah,
whole thing." Like,
right.
At
He
the end
did
of the
say
day,
that.
I believed he was gonna beat my ass.
hey man, and the thing is, I think because it got technical, it got real technical. I think one thing that because his verse was dope
Mhm.
and he executed it flawlessly.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's his own style.
Mhm.
So you have to like it.
Yeah.
I want the world to check this motherfucker out because he's dope. Right? The one thing that when it got down to the nitty gritty, it's like, okay, mine is custom made for Old Man Saxon. I knew like I'm not a battle rapper. I'm taking these risks. You know what I'm saying? I said he looked like a broke Steve Harvey. I said, you even got the stash, but my flow is the GOAT. I'm Kobe, you know Ring Barkley. Like, I'm going after him like, this is for you.
Yeah.
So that means when we decide, the moment a day ago or 2 days ago when they told us that's who you battling, I went from scratch and catered something to this moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? His was dope as shit, but he didn't say smoke. You know what I'm saying? His one line about me, you look like African Bombada's
Right.
granddaughter. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but within the verse, you know, there was nothing that was like, okay, this is tailor made
For him.
to fuck you up.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And the way that Flawless
Oh,
was for Beans.
Beans.
And we got to
God.
talk about that.
Oh my
Because
God.
Beans is incredible.
Bro, listen, let me tell you something. Now, I was there, but watching it back, I'm like, oh,
so bad. Like
shit, he did Beans dirty.
He came for everybody.
Yeah.
How he started off.
Yeah.
And the thing is, was so dope about, I mean, hats off to Flawless, real talk.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Beans is dope too.
Yes.
She's
Incredible.
she's super dope. And I feel
Mhm.
like just this one thing, like he did what you did because
Mhm.
y'all are vets.
Yes.
He literally crafted something specifically made for her
Mm-hmm.
in that moment. And it's like, I'm gonna pull your arm off. Then I'm gonna pull off your pinky toe. Then I'm gonna pull off. It was just, you know what I'm saying? It was just like so nitpicky to the point, like, so I would take it that was your favorite one outside of yours.
Easily.
Easily.
Yeah, easily.
Got you.
So another fan favorite moment, and I think the thing that kind of got people really loving you from the jump
Oh,
was
yeah.
when Snoop, you know, like DSMOKE. Where you from?
Shout out to the OG big homie Uncle Snoop. Like, I don't know if people really understand that moment all the way.
I think you got to
They
be
don't
from here.
They don't. You got to be
We
from
know
here.
for sure.
One. I think it was Snoop Dogg throwing me a lob
Mhm.
more than anything. You know, whether it was intentional or it just happened to be like out of true gangsta ass curiosity. Like, it was a lob. The reason being, there's always a question of an artist coming out the West with an immediate amount of visibility. Like, how strong are you in the place where you come from? Reason being, you have to move around.
Absolutely.
You got to
You have to move around. You're not a rapper off the West and having to run into roadblocks that you can't get on the phone and get through. So how legitimate, how authentic are you, true to where you come from? And it also lent to what happened in the video round. Like, I understood what the video round was about. You know, it's like, go back to your home city. Anybody that's not from my home city, I got to take them there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but Snoop, he threw me a lob in the sense that and he didn't know how I was gonna respond. I didn't know how I was gonna respond because this shit is not scripted. I didn't know.
I
You know,
keep trying to tell people this shit is not scripted.
And I think that's
niggas,
what I
I
love
seen some
most
dumb
about it,
shit
man.
too. Like the shit was not scripted. I didn't know how I was gonna respond, and that's the beauty of it. Because what happened is organic as fuck, and it's true. You know, Snoop Dogg could have switched up the question and got a different answer. Like, where'd you grow up?
Right.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Well, then it gets different.
That-
You know,
Yeah.
the territories,
Yeah.
then we can narrow it down.
Yeah.
But my thing was, OG, you know, with all due respect, I ain't swell up. I don't got to, you know, none of the extras. But you asked me the same question, you gonna get the same answer because it was true the first time. You know what I'm saying? And if I was a banged out ass nigga, then of course they'd have got a different answer. But I wasn't.
Right.
You know, my music will tell more of the story of why I could move around Inglewood without pushing the gang lines or a red flag or a blue flag. You know, the music will tell the details of why, you know, in my city, if I make a phone call, niggas can and will show up. You know, but it's dope that he asked that question because people need to know that before they give you that nod. And he gave me that nod. And who else is better to get, you know, he
King of the West.
One.
That was
Bro,
the one.
that's-
Yeah.
That moment
A
to me,
career defining moment. bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
that moment to me was special in two ways. One, it was special because of how you approached it. Like like it was organic as fuck. We didn't know what was going on. When he asked you, when he doubled up, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Okay. So I'm standing there and when he doubled back and asked you the same question, I'm like,
You look.
I was like,
Wait, did you see the judges do the same thing?
Yeah.
Chance was uncomfortable.
yeah.
Chance was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Right?
because it right now, think about it like this. This one was like, we're like on this global scale, which is Netflix, right? Where everybody's looking at us, right? And in that moment, it just became some LA shit real
Period.
quick.
Immediately.
Real
Instant.
quick.
But that's LA.
Yeah,
That's
for sure,
LA.
for sure.
The shit happens
Yeah.
real quick. You pumping your gas, and the next thing, a nigga you didn't even see coming up is like, hey, homie, what?
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
I got banged on Christmas Eve going on, man. So it's like so when
bro.
you said that, I'm like, oh man, I totally.
That's
understand
LA. It
straight
happens
up.
fast.
So then when you
and that's dope.
when I'm standing there and you because when he asked it and he doubled back and I'm looking so like, so what you gonna do, nigga?
What
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Deliver,
and
man.
he said, I'm from Inglewood.
Yeah.
And then Stu was like,
All right, like yeah,
I fuck with this nigga. Like,
Explain
you know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
it was just that moment was so dope to me because it was some LA shit played out on a global scale. And people got to really see a raw LA moment.
And it was poetic, bro.
Yeah.
It like how it turned out. Like Snoop, it's like to be a OG Crip from Long Beach, looking at a nigga from a blood-dominated city,
Mm-hmm.
claiming that city unapologetically, and the end result is I respect your approach to the shit.
It's love.
Can't ask for more than that. That's love, bro.
sure.
So, shit, that made me proud. Niggas on the internet was
Yeah.
going up.
Yeah.
They was like, on it.
Yeah.
Now, leading up to these moments, man. I mean, what I do like again, you talking about the video, how you displayed your city, man, and you just did an incredible job with that.
Thank you.
But leading up to that, man, who is DSMOKE? Like you talked about being an educator, you know what I mean? And there was little snippets in. For me, I'm paying attention, so I see you talking about your relationship with your father in there,
Yeah.
how he wasn't home, he was locked up for some time,
Yeah.
and that relationship. So kind of dive into who DSMOKE is and why you decided to get into education, just all those things prior to music.
Yeah. Well, I got to start off by saying I'm incredibly blessed, bro. Like, it's the different factors that kind of shape me, the different moments in my background. It's just like, it's all, in a certain sense, random, right? You got Pops being locked up, right? Pops was locked up. It's the 80s, so it's drug-related crimes, right? But it's also at the very same time, it's a musical family, right? So whereas in some places, not having a father in the home is almost a death sentence. Like, damn, well, he's fucked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in our case, it's like, okay, that's missing, but it's uncles around. It's music in the household. You know, my mom and dad are ministers, so I learned to play piano from my mom at as early as 6 years old.
Really?
You know, and I started off doing classical and competing all through high school, you know, full classical concertos and whatnot. So it's it's just an anomaly in a sense. Like I can't ask for these type of experiences, and then it's like we had some years of a private school experience. So academically, I was just sharp. But then it's like, okay, our scholarships get cut off because we not paying for the private school. So then we go, then it's like, okay, now we back at Warren Lane and Inglewood High School, and when Pops was locked up, we was fighting. And that's really because Mom gave us that pass. Like, look, y'all not going to be no busters. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you go to
Stand up for
school,
yourself.
period, we had specific instructions. Like, you don't let nobody run over you. And so, we all brothers, all boys. I don't have no sisters. We get all the practice we need in the house. So outside, we just tearing shit up, But inside the classroom, my teachers wouldn't know that because although if I came home and said, I got in a fight, my mom would be like, why? It's not an immediate punishment, right? But if I came home and with a note that said your son was disrespectful to the teacher, it's like, we not having that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, that's a different boundary, right? So I think it was just a healthy sense of stand up for yourself, be who you are. Don't let nobody run over you. And, when it comes to people that are there to deposit into your life, don't take that for granted or don't disrespect them. So that was part of that little anomaly. And then, my older brother, Ron, my older brother, he bangs, you know what I'm saying? So his background was like, he was in Inglewood. When the thing is, my dad was locked up from when I was like 2, came home for a minute when I was 4, went right back, and all the way until I was 8, he was locked up. Now, my brother Ron is 10 years older than me, so these are my like super childhood years. Yeah. For him, this is his teenage years.
Like
you feel me? So
years.
Yeah, formative years. So he's like, okay, well, Pops ain't around. Whatever that void is, that male presence, tutelage, he took straight to, the streets, and anybody that know us know what that was, So, but what he contributed to us, because we grew up singing, musical. We actually were signed to DreamWorks as a group of young boy singers,
really?
A brother group, yeah. Me, Sir, and my brother Davion.
What was the name of that group?
It was called N3D.
Get out of here.
Really?
N3D. We were signed.
So so you've already been.
I'm gonna
kinda,
find. I gotta
Oh,
find
we
a
didn't drop.
picture.
We were 6 songs into a project, but Gerald Busby, the same dude that signed Boys to Men, he was rest in peace. He had diabetes, and it started getting bad. So his acts got dropped from the label.
So the person that brought you in,
yes,
wow.
he couldn't. And this was at a time where you signing artists, developing them. We were taking vocal lessons at Randy Gill's house. Johnny Gill's house up in Beverly Hills. Just my dad was. It's crazy because he was a limo driver at the time. So
crazy.
He's driving us around in limos, but it's not the limo like that. We made it already. It's because when we go to school, our lunch money was the tips that he made from driving. If he happened to drive a famous person and they was generous that day, it's like we ate good. If it wasn't, hey, peanut butter and jelly, you feel me? So, but it was just a crazy set of experiences. Had it not been for my older brother, Ron, who was like active in Inglewood, and my homie Chiz, rest in peace. And y'all knew Chiz. Yeah. Chiz, his older brothers, Miko Mark and Sean Chisholm, between our older brothers who really lived that street life, pistols, fighting, all of that, that was our past, because it's like, okay, we understand that, but they can all speak to the fact that that alone won't get you nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So it was just that crazy set of experiences, and that's why I say I'm blessed, because you can't script that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna send you to private school, but you're gonna be in boxing. Yeah. And you're gonna go to Inglewood playing classical. Like, that shit don't make no sense. Like you know what I'm saying? So for me, it just gives me a great sense of responsibility. You feel me?
Now, one thing you mentioned, obviously, Sir being your brother, we know that.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do respect about you not leaning into that and using that as a platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Speak to why you chose to go that route and just, kind of not use that as an affiliation, so to speak.
I mean, I think that tells on itself if it's like, I'm Sir's brother.
Yeah.
Because that means I don't know who I am, but I know who he is.
So
you know what I'm
have
saying?
Like identity all your own.
Yeah, I got an identity all of my own, And if the beauty of it for me is like, if rap never happened, right? There's no arrival. It's not like, okay, you made it. Now sit down and enjoy it. No. It's a journey. But if rap never happened, I've already been successful. You know, I've been fulfilled. You know what I'm saying, in my work. So I don't have to introduce myself as I'm Sir's brother, right? But I'm proud to say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm proud of my younger brother. And people, somebody asked me a dumbass question a minute ago, like, are you ever like a little bit jealous of your brother? And
Come on, man.
the fuck are you talking about? My brother, like, I share in his success. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no joint account. You feel me? But I'm rooting him on as if he is me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm both DSMOKE. You know, I'm Sir's brother. You know, Sir is DSMOKE's brother, and I look forward to the day where it's as fair an exchange for him as it has been for me. You know, shout out to him. He took me on tour. You feel me? When he went on the Miguel tour, the War and Leisure tour. Shout out to Miguel too.
Wow.
You know, Sir asked me, and we were roommates at the time, still living in Inglewood. He had been signed to TDE, but he's still in the hood, and niggas didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sir was like, "Who should I take on tour?" And I'm like, "Nigga, take a drummer." Like, if you got one musician, you got show tracks, DJ and drummer is gonna bang. You know, you still got the musical element, but then the drummer is gonna add that live. When you hit that live snare, the energy go up in the room, right? So that was my recommendation. And then, you know, it gets back that they're like, drummer is like heavy packing, you know, we can't do drummer, you know, because they're in one Sprinter van on this run. He was like, come on tour with me. And I was like, bro, I'm still waiting on DJ Battlecat to get back to me. Like, Battlecat was like, nigga, I got this thing in the works. I want you to be a part of it. I was like, for sure, you know, I'm waiting on the word. He's like, come on tour with me. Then I had gave Battlecat a courtesy call, like, big homie.
This is what's going on.
Little bro offered me to go on tour. You know, I'm gonna make this run. You know what I'm saying? And then we left. So that in and of itself changed my life, because Run the Subtitles came after that. There's no price you could put on opening your mind and developing those kind of experiences, seeing the whole country in that short amount of time. You know, it's invaluable.
That's invaluable. Yeah. Do you and Sir have songs together? Obviously,
we do.
You do?
We do. Me and Sir have songs together.
Okay.
And that's on the way.
Wow.
Not on the 7 song. So I got a 7 song that's out today. Go check it out.
Okay.
Inglewood High.
Nice.
Yeah,
Inglewood High is officially out.
It's
That's what I was gonna
officially
get
out.
into. Why Inglewood High? For obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but
I mean, okay, so it's,
conceptually.
the obvious reason is that it's an ode to the city, right? The city is changing. You know, with the stadium being built, property value is rising, skyrocketing in some places. You know, where they used to be walking pit bulls, they're now walking poodles.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
So
bro.
the city is changing, it's developing, right? And so it's almost like an ode to the old guard. You know, like, this is the Inglewood I grew up in. How much of this can we preserve while accepting the changes and benefiting as a community from the changes that are happening? So it talks about my experience, because I went to Inglewood High School twice, you know, all 4 years in high school. Then I went to UCLA, and then I came back and I taught at Inglewood High. So it's both stories. I both tell, like, coming up, this is how I was as a student, you know, but then on the other side as a teacher, I tell some of my students' stories and that mindset that I watched them have, because while I was at Inglewood High School as a student, I was focused. Like, I knew what was going on around me, but I wasn't, like, super distracted. As a teacher, it's my job to pay close attention to.
Involved.
I'm involved and invested. So, and I can tell a lot of the Inglewood stories better from a teacher's standpoint, because I'm not too much absorbed in what I have to do. It's more so, you're my priority. So I got a song on there called Lil Red. You know what I'm saying? Lil Red is a story of a youngster in Inglewood who, and it's not any one story. It's the story that recurs far too often. You know, and you could make a safe assumption as to what Lil Red is.
Yeah.
And, you know, people go from 8th grade being the fun, cool guy to 9th grade, he turned up.
Turned up.
Right.
In and out, outside, inside.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that's funny James.
Yeah.
Now he Jay, you know,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So Lil Red is that story. And I enjoy that track because it's you know, a lot of times people think storytelling songs is just like, give me a hip hop beat and I'm gonna lay back. No, but Little Red Bang. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, so Inglewood High is special to me because it's both sides of that coin. If we're gonna use Snoop's words,
Gotcha.
both sides of the coin.
Now, are you still involved with education? Are you still teaching, or did you?
I'm not full time teaching at the moment,
Okay.
so I still have tutoring clients. You know what I'm saying? That I get with, and we have like private sessions, work with them. Sometimes even if all we can do is FaceTime, but I'm always gonna be passionate about the language learner, especially young Black language learners,
Mhm.
right? Because I think it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool in my time to learn Spanish. I remember the Spanish teachers getting hell from the Black kids, and I'm sneaking off like already interested in learning because as a kid I went to a private school that was predominantly Latino, and they was my friends, and they would just code switch without knowing, and I'd be left behind like yeah,
Okay.
so
Come on.
right, exactly. So I forgot where I was.
No,
at.
you were saying that you're taking on clients right now. As
Oh
far
yeah,
as, like,
yeah.
tutors.
So I'm always passionate about the language learner. And I was telling somebody the other day, like, I'm a writer first. Like, we started doing music, writing for other people. We got to deal with Warner Chappell, and I wrote the song "Never" for Jaheim, and wrote and produced that. Wrote all kind of stuff like Pussycat Dolls. Some stuff for Usher that he recorded, didn't get put out.
I'm
But you
just
went through
jealous
the process.
that, like, it's crazy.
That-
Because we got like a couple talents, like maybe.
Oh yeah, no. This is on some whole other.
I hate on people with talent, like
Oh,
just
don't do
naturally.
that.
No,
Don't
I'm
do
just
that.
saying, just because both my parents short and stocky, they chubby. You know what I'm saying? So I don't got the athleticism. I don't got the voice.
He just said on the other podcast. He said my mom just told me that she had no ambition, no drive.
yeah.
Yeah, damn.
Like, so I didn't get
Straight up.
nothing. Like, I can't get nothing. And you speaking Spanish, teaching piano, rapping, winning shows. You got money. Y'all rich. Your whole family talented. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Man, I work hard.
Yeah.
I work hard. I enjoy work.
You know what I'm
You know,
saying? You going on tours and shit. Anyway, sorry.
So, bueno.
I see it. It's a proud moment because, like I said, we've been seeing him grow for so
Yeah.
many years.
Woodworks.
Woodworks. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Having a studio right down the street from Homegrown, and
Yes.
just like seeing all of the things that are happening right now. So, okay, I want to get into why I still want to tap into the educational side of it
Mhm.
because you do an amazing thing by being tapped into the community, right?
Mhm.
You've always been around, kind of doing your thing. But right now, it's like it's that world of being torn now. Obviously, the success of the show is going to obviously give you more avenues, more lanes, and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you right now when it comes to things are picking up and progressing,
Mhm.
and obviously staying as a staple in the community? How are you handling that?
Right. Well, it's really exciting. The platform is going to allow me the opportunity to do the same things that I was already doing, but on a greater level.
Mhm.
Right. And I didn't know that I would be on a show. I didn't know that we were prepared to build our following over the course of however
Of
However long it took.
fucking long it took.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we had planned for. And that's why we're so prepared for what's happening right now. So I didn't know that we would have this immediate amount of publicity. Like, to keep it 100, my follows, nigga, have been going up like 10,000 follows
Love it.
a fucking like hour.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh shit.
like it's ridiculous, bro. So, but the beauty in that is I have visions back when I was in college. My first job in college was directing out of college, excuse me. Well, in college and then out of college. In college, I was a tutor and a mentor for a program called SHAPE that's still at UCLA. Stands for Students Heightening Academic Performance Through Education. And I worked all 4 years. My last 2 years, I was a coordinator. And then when I graduated, my first job was to be the director of that program. Wow. So I was a salaried employee for the university, recent graduate, and I had a staff of 30 people and 4 sites that I managed and 4 grants that I managed as well, right? So in doing so, you get to see like how the inner workings of it. One, I was a master at every ground level job on that job. I can sit down with a student, map out their goals, turn that into a plan of action on a weekly schedule, assess what their core values are, how that relates to how they spend their time, all of that, right? So as director, I was like, I've written out ideas of programs that I know would work in terms of producing a result in the lives of young people. So my ultimate goal is to do a community center that, one, the space in and of itself is just somewhere to go. That's like half the battle.
Yep.
Right? Having the kids have somewhere to go.
Idle time, bro.
Idle time.
In Inglewood or?
In Inglewood.
Got you.
Idle, and it's some things that are already in the works that I'm excited about, down to like the property that we're looking at to do it on, and taking a step back, after the show was filmed, right? Somebody asked me, who do I want to work with? Because they were like, now we can imagine you, being able to survey who you want to collaborate with creatively. I was like, I want to work with Nipsey Hussle.
Whoa.
Right? Bro, I'll cry saying it. The next week, we get the news. LA, and the first news, y'all remember, he got shot.
Yep.
Right?
I remember that day.
The first,
clearly,
I was at my house. DJ Shanks hit me up. And we start praying. That's all we know how to do, right? Then we get the second news. And it was like he was taken from us. And it shit knocked me off my feet, bro. So, because one, it was two feelings. It was like, I'm hurt. I just said bro's name. The second thing was, all I envisioned is like me being from Inglewood, me being from Crenshaw and Manchester, and him being from Crenshaw and Slauson, and doing music together would be so good for the city.
Impactful.
Anybody from LA knows that 1 mile stretch between those two major streets is a world apart in terms of like affiliation. So that I thought I was gonna do something great, like, hey bro, let's link up and get Inglewood and South Central on the same page so that, one, niggas stop losing homies. Two, we move the conversation forward around what you're doing on a business front, and what I plan on doing in, on my end as well. Yeah. Y'all saw Woodworks on Manchester. It was very informed by the Marathon store. And it wasn't the Marathon store at that time. Right. It was a t-shirt shop.
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So it was very informed. I worked across the street from there. I taught at View Park at one point. And so working there, we also did shows there because the teaching staff knew I did music. One day we had a show over there, and I was like, man, let's go over there and grab a t-shirt, because I thought I had packed, my little performance outfit in the trunk. I didn't have nothing. I was like, I'm going to go get a t-shirt. The bros, because, we from Inglewood, I told them I'm going by myself. Like, let me go by myself.
Hell yeah.
They was like, nope. We not letting you go by yourself. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And I can't tell them not to let me go by myself, because they like, we ain't going to let you out on Crenshaw and Slauson by yourself. So we go over there 4 deep, already looking like issues.
Yeah.
And we walk in there, and Nip wasn't there this time, but his homies was in there. And, he's always been about employing people from the community.
Exactly.
So, niggas who know LA, again, they know where they was from.
Yeah.
They see us. We unfamiliar. It's 4 of us, one older.
You don't know we don't know what y'all own.
They don't know what we own. And they're at work.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they still can't treat it how they would had it been an unfamiliar situation elsewhere. Right? So they like, what's up, fellas? How can I help you?
Ooh.
And then I'm like, in order to just kind of calm it all, because even the dudes that came with me, they came with me in case, but they on edge too. It's just you got that mentality there. I'm like, I pull out 100. I'm like, bro, we gonna get some teas. I'm definitely gonna take that mixtape right there too. So I put the 100 on the table, like, we gonna do some business.
Diffuser.
Then
right
we
there.
shop, right?
Yeah.
Then we shop. They like, okay, nigga wouldn't have done that if it was on some bullshit. My dumb ass homie, right? So, I mean, not dumb. He's a funny nigga. He's a real street nigga, right? A real street nigga.
What did he do?
He grabs, because Nip has his shirts in all colors.
Yeah.
He grabs a white one with blue letters and a white one with red letters on it. Takes it to the table. He's like, hey, man, both these motherfuckers is doped in a mug. Which one you like more? Of course, the nigga behind the counter's like, I like this one. Pointed to the blue one. He's like, yeah, that is dope, but
what about
this motherfucker right here real hard? And I'm like, you're an idiot.
But why?
Why? No, because, bro, it was dumb. But, at the end of the day, what happened, we bought a grip of shit. And we was like, hey, man, y'all have a blessed day. They was like, much love. Because everybody was relieved that it was, they still knew what it was. They still knew it was like, them niggas ain't from around here. but they respect the game. And that's the untold story of LA. Like,
Exactly.
it's so many cross collaborations, so to speak, in the sense that we from even rival hoods. But I see the real nigga in you, so I'm gonna respect that, I'm gonna honor that, and I'm gonna treat you with the utmost, mutual respect. And that was what ended up happening.
I think too, also going over there, at the Marathon store, I feel like even before when it was just a t-shirt spot, people always respected what Nip and Sam was trying to do. And so like I felt like that's always been a place. That's why it's hit us so hard with what happened, because it's like that's always been a place where we've gone multiple times. I've been there I don't know how many times, and I just go by myself. I go me and Chuck, I go me and Salas, like, and we just go and like patronize the business. I buy a hat, $100. Nip used to kill me with them $100 hats. Bro. God damn, Nipsey. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I bought the hat, and it's just like, I feel like we need more of those. I refer to them like satellite stations, right? Like, so what what Woodworks was, what Homegrown was.
Yes.
And I feel like those
Hubs.
different hubs in
Mound.
different places where people can go, and they know it ain't never that.
Right.
No
It ain't never that.
Right.
It's always, look, we in here
Not
doing,
primarily.
Not primarily.
Yeah, exactly.
We
That's not what
always
it's about.
doing music, or we're being productive members of society in here. And I feel like it's certain things like that gets overlooked. And that's why I love, like, stories like that.
Yeah, that was a real one.
I do want to talk about too, your performance. Okay, so the finale performance was fucking amazing.
Thank you. Respect.
Everybody in the building is we're just watching like, this shit is the best shit I've ever seen. And I remember looking over and I saw Tip's face, right? And it was more like, it wasn't even it wasn't him like, it wasn't a critique face. It was like this nigga's amazing type of thing, right? So obviously it was a Last Supper theme or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Man, we went in the studio. Shout out to Soundwave.
Shout out to
Soundwave, because my thing is, I'm a producer as well. I was a producer before I was a rapper.
I know I saw you tickling the keys.
The ebonies and the ivories.
7 million talents.
You know what I'm
whatever,
saying?
go
Had
ahead.
to do it. I'm a producer first. So when they tell us the challenge the day before, and like, tomorrow you'll get in the studio, I'm like, tonight I'm already in the studio. And I brought a desktop to my hotel room.
Damn.
Even though we shooting in LA, they're like, you cannot go home.
You can't go home.
Because if they decide that night we're getting footage of you in your room, guess what? They're getting footage of you in your room.
Snap.
You know what I'm saying? So I brought a desktop, inbox, my mic, MIDI controller, keyboard. So even if I'm going in with somebody that's gonna recreate the shit, I'm going in like, here's a scratch of what we're doing today. Yeah. The beauty of that is, Soundwave took the scratch I did and leveled it up, bro. Like, sound wise. And it's just, he's a prepared producer. He has custom sounds of his own that are damn near like samples that have 5 or 6, 7 layers in them. He pressed one button and it's a world of its own, and he's building on top of that. Like, so we went in like that. Like, I have this idea and this is how we're gonna do it. Now, what I wanted to do, and the crazy thing is, as it being a hip hop show, there was, I don't remember, there were a couple hip hop beats that we used in the battle rounds. Mine was like super drum driven, but later in the rounds, things went back to like primarily trap. You know what I'm saying? And what we did for the second half of that song, we did the first like straight up hip hop, like some sweet shit. Like, the shit was just some off, and that's something. At that point, I left the studio because I was like, okay, we built that first half of the beat how I envisioned it, right? Because all I knew is I'm gonna come out stomping. I follow boxing. Like, you can't win a championship on some passive shit. You got to take it. So that's why I have written the first line of the rap that I did back in the battle round. I was thinking of using it against Old Man Saxon to start off. Like, keep it 100. I be feeling like who? Nobody. Like, none of y'all niggas, in my view, is like, we're in different worlds, my nigga. And if you don't view it that way, rapping kind of ain't the thing for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I thought about using that in a battle round, and I was like, nah, we gonna open it up. Like, you know, like that at the end. You know, these niggas finally understand when I land, I'm the man. Fuck you thought this was, nigga, from Japan to the land. Something like, you know, like I'm coming for them. Then we switch because it's Last Supper. Then you take them home and talk about what supper was as a kid. You know, the second half we went hip hop and we went warm, and you know, because the crowd has been with us. It's the same people in the crowd. They start to become familiar faces, that live audience. So it's like, let's take them home. Give them a beautiful moment, interact with them. Like, keep it 100, I be feeling like Campbell soup over white rice, baked chicken with the skin on, Lawry's with black pepper. I'm fully seasoned with half the effort. Ask my nigga Mash, bro, I been on. I'm a pit with a bunch of labs in the kino. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm coming for him, but it's like, now let's take it back and be like, you know, this is supper, this is food, this is nourishment, this is, you know what I'm saying? This is music, you know? So it was a puzzle piece. It was both aggressive in a way that's like, I'm gonna show you elements of myself. Oh, and I ain't talk about the piano piece. I told myself in the first round, by the end of this shit,
They gonna see.
I want to sit down at the piano and I want to play and rap. Take it home.
And here's the thing, and this is I was gonna get to that because I wanted you to bring it up, but I remember that shocked everybody. That, I mean, see, and the thing is, this is what people don't realize. When you shoot a television show, it's not necessarily shot in chronological order.
Right.
So so the judges had no idea that you played
because
piano.
they hadn't seen my studio shit.
They hadn't seen your studio
The
yet.
audience, we all know. We know, you know,
Because of the
story,
beginning,
right,
the
right.
story.
But the judges weren't in the studio with us. They never saw me sit down at an instrument or none of that.
The judges had no idea that he could play the piano like that.
Right.
So he sat down. Right. Exactly. So he sat down and he's playing the piano. And I looked over, I saw Cardi, and she was like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, to me, I was like, oh, he got this shit.
Hey,
I
man,
was like, he got this shit. Now when obviously you purposely, and I know they brought that up when they were talking about it, you purposely saved that for the end.
Yes.
You displayed the Spanish shit all the way through, and then you purposely saved that specific why?
Because I feel like early in the competition, it's an introduction, so you got to give them stuff that grabs their attention and makes them not forget you.
Exactly.
You can't, if that's your primary focus, to try to do that and then say something introspective or this, like you're running a huge risk, right? I had a whole nother verse that I could have did in the first round, but my brother, you know, I called my bro. He was like, "Bro, save that. Don't do that one." You know, and I didn't end up doing that one on the show at all. So by the time they had seen those other facets, it's really like, bring them home, right? The piano was them bringing them home. Like this, I grew up with a piano in the house. Most of the time it was an upright. You know, at one point before we lost the house that we lived in Inglewood, we had a grand in there. Like it wasn't an expensive grand. It was it was refurbished.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Refurbished grand.
But it was a grand. So that's me bringing them home because this is my comfort zone, right? Of course, when it's like, you know, after the verse goes off, you know, what is it? How'd I end the verse? And get better every moment, just like Beverly mentioned. Hard times, but never resentment. I stay forever relentless. Let's go. I'm an inspirational dude, bro, and I make no apologies about it. I'm a teacher. So I was like, you know, shout out to my pastor, too. That's my childhood pastor, Beverly Crawford. But just like Beverly mentioned, I stay forever relentless. Let's go. Then the beat comes in. That's when it's like, okay, let's remind these niggas that we're here to take it. You know, until the end of my performance, I didn't know how it was gonna go. Again, the no matter how many people behind the scenes, on the side of the judges, no matter how many people are rooting for you, the beauty of this whole process, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, was that people were being honest. People were being honest, and that's where you have disagreements. That's where you have Chance being like, they said this, but I said this.
Right.
And that's just honest. You know what I'm saying? And it made for really dope moments. And I knew that also meant, like, despite how much you rooting for me, if I don't show up and execute right now, I could be the nigga who should have got it. You know what I'm saying?
Shoulda,
Coulda. And one thing, people are saying, why are these rappers forgetting their lyrics and what's happening? And it's like, fuck you know about getting up and doing a performance in front of not your audience, right? Because if you watch, there's so many performances where the artist is overwhelmed with emotion and they cry.
Yep.
What does the audience do? Cheer them on, go crazy because they shared that moment with you. That's a natural exchange of performing in front of your crowd, right? Never will you get up in front of that many people being critiqued, nor will it be that many lights and cameras where the primary function of all the cameras is to make a show, not to make you. You know what I'm saying? So for people critiquing the artist that fumbled in whatever round, I listened back to, because I didn't hear all the ciphers till the show came out.
Yeah.
I listened back to the ciphers. It's like niggas where a certain element of their artistry was stupid dope. Like, I'm like, damn, that nigga voice hard. Like, how he delivers, I can learn from that.
Right.
Beans, how she come off hard, I can learn from that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The kid, Ariane.
Ariane.
When I was fucking...
Ariane was...
When I was 19, 18, was I rapping like that?
Hell
Fuck no.
Hell no.
Fuck no. You know what I'm saying? So, critics gonna be critics.
Ray Khalil.
Oh, my God. And I'm so proud that Ray Khalil got the first verse on the whole show. So every time somebody goes back and it's like, I'm going to watch this show. They
Be
say,
reminded,
because she's so creative.
Whatever happened to Bad News?
Bad News.
Bad News. He was from North Carolina.
Yeah.
A lot of people. It was funny because I was in the barbershops like recently, and they were like, he was a dude. It was in Atlanta. Yeah. But he got through, but he didn't go. I guess obviously that's the whole TV value of the production or whatever, the editing process, whatever. But a lot of people asking like, yo, whatever happened to Bad News? I didn't know if you had.
And it happened. It happened two ways. Bad News made it through, got the go ahead, got the nod. And you didn't see him in L.A. When I saw him on TV, I was like, "Who's that?" Right. You know what I'm saying? Then you also had AJ the One from Inglewood. You know what I'm saying? You see her in the second round, but they didn't show her first round. And so it's just the nature of
they had to cut it down.
Yeah. They had to cut it down, and they also cut down songs and verses.
Oh yeah,
like for example, you don't hear my battle verse is the abridged version. You know what I'm saying? Out of nowhere, it's like. I call him No Ring Barkley, then it's like, I'll beat your ass. Like, where's the setup? You know? So, rap critics are going to be like, that don't rhyme, but I guess, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
you was really serious about beating his ass. I thought that was the boxer coming out in you, you know what I mean?
And some people think he panicked and just threatened to kill him. like, nah, it's like, I said, what I say, No Ring Barkley, sing along if you know this. Smoke a blow an old king, but you ain't who Los is. You gonna need your coach ringside to clear the ropes, throw the towel in. You that white thing that I used to clear my bowels in. Ain't no nice me. You a suit tie, I'm a white tee. You a fruit fly, I'm a kite. Be so high, all I do is sightsee. But boy, you better not miss no class. I will honestly beat your ass. You know what I'm saying? The setup, it's Flawless said it to me the other day. He was like, bro, we write intentionally, bro. So to take out a portion is to give the audience something that doesn't completely meet our standards as a writer, but the thing is, the trade-off is that the storytelling was done so incredibly well that you can't wish for more.
It's still a television show. At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And I always try to get people to understand that even with when you guys did the the samples and you did the Atomic Dog shit, and you and your performance is what kind of sold that. Like you came in, with the drunk man shit, and then you stood up tall and you rapped your verse, and it was just like, to me, that was you was in your full artistry, portraying not only with what you said, like what Chance said, as far as like what I see on the paper, but I saw it in a theatrical way. You know what I'm saying? So that way you were literally painting the picture live for everybody to understand what it is that you're trying to convey.
Absolutely.
And I think like those types of things are important. Another thing too is the collaboration. I want to talk about that real quick. I know we got to wrap up, but the collaborations. Did you guys know about that? Because I didn't.
That was a surprise.
That was
after the sample round was over. Then they were like, "Hey, guess what?
You're gonna be
collaborating with an artist." And then, what I thought, because I thought we were going to go in and do an original song, which is what I kind of looked forward to, because that's where I was always like gonna distinguish myself.
Yeah.
Let's get to these later rounds. Let's do what we got to do. Because when I get in the studio, different things are going to happen. and the Atomic Dog thing. They had seen my music video. They see me bring Inglewood out. They see me on a lowrider bike. So they thinking, boom some class, boom some class.
Slumpy
And
drums.
it starts off like that. Yeah, slumpy drum.
Yeah.
It starts off like that. But then when we flip it to halftime,
Hey, Chance lost his shit.
it takes you into a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Shout out to King Los because
Shout out to King Lowe's.
because when King Los knew, like he's no stranger to competition, battle. You know what I'm saying? So he knew that this is unorthodox as shit to do a slow song in a competition where other people are coming with some like
energy.
right? But I did it intentionally because my goal is always be memorable, right? But what Lo said is like, okay, that's how you gonna rock. Do it. Be theatrical. And I was like, and I give that to him.
He
I was
a
like,
great coach.
And you
by the way.
switch shoes and shit.
come on, homie. You know, and for the mistakes that I made in the verse on that round, they see the vision. And again, my response from the crowd was similar to that response I talked about. Like if an artist has a moment on stage and I can't give you the song, but I'm giving you me so you don't mind. You could go listen to the song, but you shared a human moment with me. And I think that was something special that came out of it. Would I have preferred to do it flawlessly?
No, of
you
course,
know,
of course.
of course.
Which you worked with on the collaborations. You worked with
De Niro Love the first time.
No, I'm talking about the feature.
The feature was Miguel.
Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, y'all got history because of
Yeah.
the tour and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The whole time when it was Miguel, it was Ty Dolla $ign, it was Janae,
Mhm.
it was
Tiana Taylor.
Taylor.
Mhm.
The whole time I'm like, I'm being 100% honest. I'm like, I think Smoke is gonna murder this shit and Flawless is gonna fuck this up.
Mm.
And the only reason I felt like that is because he collaborated with Janae,
Janae.
right?
Yeah, but he killed that shit,
He
didn't he?
killed it.
Yeah, that's what
And he killed it, bro. And I was like, because I didn't know he can go there.
Yeah,
I think everybody's looking at Flawless like, I'm aggressive. I'm from the
Right,
East Coast.
right.
I'm a bar motherfucker. I'm a bar you out. This that.
Yeah.
And then when he
Versatility.
flipped it and came with the like, yeah, you know, he was smooth, Rico Suave as Cardi or whatever. He was just like, and he was doing it.
and
I was like,
comfortable.
that's the first time I ever worried about you in that competition.
When Flawless did his
When
shit.
Flawless did his
Did
shit.
he go before me?
I don't remember the order. They might have edited it
Yeah,
out of
that's
order.
what I'm saying. Like,
That was the first time I ever was like, ooh, Smoke might be in trouble. That was literally because the way Flawless delivered,
Yeah.
it was just so surprising to everybody, including myself. So I'm
Mhm.
like, Smoke got this shit sold up. And then when I saw Flawless, I'm like, oh shit. And then him and Janae's chemistry was
yeah.
it was just like,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, you killed it too, obviously.
Hey, good looking.
You know, we sitting here.
We
but
just had, my thing was, that round was like, have a good ass time. Like that was the one thing I felt like I hadn't done yet. I had showed them how creative I was, how thoughtful I was, how aggressive I could be,
Mhm.
how West Coast and authentic I am, but they hadn't seen me just have a good ass time.
Facts.
The thing about it is, the whole tour that we went on with Miguel was a good ass time, and
Oh, I
how
can
he
imagine.
how he ended the show every night was Cap and the stand, catch a wave on us.
Yep.
You know, that shit was wild, bro. So to get that song, it's like I know the energy of this song.
Yeah.
West
You know what I'm
Coast.
saying? So,
Now,
sorry.
what I do want to ask too, man, as far as the students, I mean, you like I said, you play a huge part in the community. What has been the students' response like
Man, bro.
as of right
You,
now?
I mean,
Mr.
I don't know if
Ferris.
you've seen, yeah.
You know, Mr.
If
I've
you've
been
seen
seeing
my
the tweets. You know what I'm saying?
bro, my students, and if I ever catch them, I promise I'm reposting them, and I do. You know, my students are like, this is my Spanish teacher,
Wow.
and you know, anybody that's been in my class, I have this kind of a call and response that's basically like, whatever is going on in your day outside of this classroom, this is where we are. Y'all know the norms of this space.
Mhm.
We gonna operate. You know, you get respect in here. You know, you're expected to respect me. So this is how we start off. It's just a routine, a healthy routine in my classroom. So I start off like "Pura vida clase," which is a saying from Costa Rica, right? "Pura vida clase," and they like "Tuanis," you know, which is
That sound
Costa
like some
Rican
gang
slang.
shit.
I do, right? Like-
I'm from LA. You
Right.
said 20s.
Right. Right. So Tuanis. So it's Tuanis, right? And then so it's just this whole call and response. It's like several different sentences and whatnot. So everything that they're posting is like "Pura vida," like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you hear them in the background while they're watching it. recording their television like, that's my Spanish
That's
teacher, Mr.
amazing.
Ferris, and I had to shoot them out in the cipher round, like, you
Yep.
know, I love good music, and that's another setup that they miss because they had to edit it down. I love good music. I love to share it. I love my students. Them little niggas call me Mr. Ferris, and so they missed it. I love good music. I love to share it,
Damn,
like,
dog.
so. But again, that there's no better feeling than your students hitting you up, and my DMs are nuts, bro.
I can imagine, bro.
I can
Stupid.
only imagine.
Stupid.
let me
And
ask
I still try to sift through them to be like, who is who, and that's why I go live. Like, hey man, y'all tap in with me.
Yeah.
We could chop it up because
See exactly who
it's
it is.
overwhelming, bro. It's
I
such a
already know.
warm feeling because you know me. Everything I did on the show is consistent with everything I've been about prior to. So the fact that people respond to that is overwhelming.
When they respond to who you actually are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can do that.
That's a different emotion.
Yeah.
Last thing. After everything, after all the dust is settled, right?
Mhm.
Like you said, I came in here to do this. I came to represent my city. I did this. Do you feel like you left anything on the table that you didn't get to do through this process? Not whether it be filming the show, whether it be after the show, whether it be, your interactions with other contestants on the show. You feel like you left any stone unturned.
No.
That's dope.
That's an
No.
amazing feeling.
That's
No.
dope.
And that's why it's rewarding. I feel like, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming because you prepare your whole life for stuff like this. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look like a different nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like a baby.
Right, straight up.
And so, so when you have a chance to do that and you feel like you executed to that degree, you know what I'm saying? You just feel fortunate, grateful for the ability to do that. And I think it was a fair exchange, I think Rhythm and Flow benefited from me being on there. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. So
I do appreciate too. I saw you a couple of times speak up on me being on the show and being something that it was like, oh, it's authentic.
yeah, it speaks to
I appreciate that too.
Yeah. When I first walked out, and just waiting alone will do something to you. 12-hour waits before you got to get up there and in an instant be like, all right, now do your best.
Right.
Go. You know what I'm saying? Like
Instantly.
that'll mess with your mind.
Yeah.
So we're there and right before sound check and we get, one run through in sound check to make sure our mic settings were good. I look up, I see DJ Head and I'm like, I'm supposed to be here.
We're good.
I'm supposed to be here because, spaces that are meant to do some weird shit, they have a way of excluding people like DJ Head. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, oh no, if we trying to pull some funny business, we don't need that nigga around.
I'm not going for that.
So seeing him was like, oh, we should be straight.
Yeah.
And straight don't mean I didn't know I was gonna win.
Right.
Straight don't mean I automatically win, but it means when I leave, whatever I gave them is how it's actually told. You know
Allow
what I'm
that
saying?
platform to give you to do what you came to do.
It made me feel better about. Bouncing off what you just said, it made me feel better about competition shows because we all, especially in our community.
Oh man, I wasn't fucking with none of them, bro.
In our community, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, right.
We all look at them like this some bullshit.
It's mud.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
old boy is
Snoop.
corny. Old girl, I don't trust her.
Mhm.
Right.
That ain't really his mom.
Right.
That's
Right,
crying.
right,
Right.
It be shit like that. And so,
Yeah.
like, when I went and initially sat down with them, I was like, bro, it gotta be authentic.
Yeah.
It has to be authentic, and then,
Snoop said it. This ain't the voice, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Bro.
it ain't.
bro.
It ain't.
And so when I initially agreed to do it, mind you, I didn't know you was involved. I didn't know they wouldn't tell me any. They probably didn't even tell y'all that much shit about the show.
Nothing.
They just told us, hey, it's a show, and we can't tell you what it's called. We can't tell you who's involved.
Be
like,
ready.
Just you want to do it? It's
Yeah.
like, bro, like no.
I need some
Yeah,
details.
you know what I'm saying?
need
I don't want to
details.
do it
Hell nah.
because Anyway, where I was going with it was every time you peel back another layer, it was like, oh, this is authentic. Oh, this is some real shit. And then when I first in LA, when the first auditions,
I love they started off with the LA episode, by the way.
the first auditions, when I first got there, and then the y'all started coming on stage and shit like that, and the judges weren't holding back, I was like, this is gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not corny, it's not bubblegum. They not holding it. Snoop was very honest with it. They cut a lot of that shit out.
Period.
Snoop he wasn't as honest as Fat Joe. Like Fat Joe is a different type of nigga.
Fucking
Terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Well, nigga, what are you wearing?
I fuck with Fat Joe. I like that energy.
Hey, my favorite line is, I'm sure I would appreciate what you're doing if I knew what the fuck
you
you
was
was saying. Like,
Yeah,
big boy.
right.
That's
But
really funny.
I appreciate, the show. 1, 2, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Aside from the show, just, who you are, what you stand for. You always been who you are. What people see is what you get. And I feel like the same about myself.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I always respect that in other people.
Respect,
And you got
respect.
something that you're contributing to the culture and to humanity on a bigger level. So I love the fact that you got this platform now, and I know you're gonna do amazing with it. Again, Inglewood High, is that the name of the project?
Inglewood High.
Inglewood
Yeah.
High is the name of the project.
Yes, sir.
So grab it, support it. Is one thing we always ask before people get up out of here too.
Mm-hmm.
The year can't end without DSMOKE doing what?
The year can't end without DSMOKE doing a hometown show.
A hometown show.
So, okay, that's coming.
There we go.
All right. We're going to do that show on Crenshaw and Slauson.
Let's do it.
Let's
do it.
DSMOKE.
Hey, I think they didn't seen the show, so they know what it is. But I think they also know. I think the typical rules don't apply when you ain't never followed them rules.
I feel you.
Exactly.
Other thing too is, has anybody tapped in, like, that stood out to you? Like, I know I saw Chance get your number in front of me.
Yeah,
He was like, "Yo, you hard, bro. Let's get up. Let's do some shit."
yeah.
Has anybody else tapped in with you that surprised you or even stood out?
Well, I mean, Chance just he offered a lot of insight. Chance tapped in. Tip definitely tapped in. And
Word.
Tip has already become somewhat of a mentor, just like
West Coast.
Tip. The thing about Tip has done so much of what I want to do. Both in music, in business, and in the community. As a family man.
Yep.
So his way of navigating all these things is exemplary. So, and he makes it look easy. So, we've definitely tapped in. We have conversations pretty regularly, and you guys can look forward to different kinds of collaborations. Both on the community front.
So you got a record.
So y'all can look forward to some kind of collaborations on the community front. Yeah, I got a record with Tip.
Yeah, that's
but
what's up.
we gonna go in. How I work, we go in and we do a lot of stuff, and then we choose how we want to do it. Not just we got a record, put it out.
Yeah.
Because everything is intentional and it has a specific place in the realm of music. So
What I want to know is who has a bigger vocabulary, you or Tip?
me or Tip,
Oh,
I
that's
want-
a good question.
I'm gonna tip my hat to Tip on that one.
Expedition.
Hey,
Hey,
like, look, I'm just
expeditious,
getting in this motherfucker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be ostracized. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Man, well, it's been an incredible journey, man. Just
Yeah,
witnessing
absolutely.
it, and I know this is just the beginning. Just the beginning, man. Is there anything that we didn't touch or didn't say or didn't get off that you want to make sure that the people know?
Man, I want to make sure that the people know that they can go check out all my shit
Yeah.
on DSMOKEmusic.com. We got the music up.
The merch.
The merch is
I'm
up.
loving that
The
super
merch,
good,
super
super
good,
bueno.
super bueno.
Yeah.
We're always pushing lines for black and brown.
Absolutely.
What people don't know is, or people may know, they're starting to understand is that Los Angeles, Inglewood being no exception, is it's a black and brown place. It's Spanish is not a foreign language. A couple overwhelmingly the great majority of people are like, it's so dope that you speak Spanish. You're showing so much love from a black person
West Coast.
who's not a native speaker to do it. That means a lot because the care that you put into learning the language, it shows respect for the entire culture, not just for some regular shit.
Right.
So the overwhelming response is positive, right? So we're always gonna. I have a passion for the language learners. We're always gonna push that line, and so that's what this little movement is about. You feel me? Y'all go pick that up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we at it, man. I
See?
appreciate
I
y'all.
just ordered mine.
Hey, DJ Head just ordered his,
You know what I'm saying?
and I got a email confirmation
Boom,
on my end.
already.
So
I just ordered
phone
mine.
vibrating.
Sitting
You
right
feel
here.
me?
So
Yes,
what's
sir.
the website one more time?
DSMOKEmusic.com.
All right. And that's how they can connect with you, follow you, get all the
All of
movement,
that.
everything, man.
All of
Well,
that. DSMOKE7.
Yes, it is, man.
Is on-
Homegrown
is the-
Radio, my guy, D-Smoke.
Inglewood is in the
Hey,
building.
Inglewood.
man.
Go
I'm
pick
from
up Inglewood High.
Inglewood.
I'm from Inglewood.
I'm from Inglewood. Shout out to Snoop. Uncle Snoop.
Yeah, man. It's Homegrown Radio, Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head, and we out.